So we're live now. We'll see what happens. People will be like, I can't hear him. And I'm just going to be like, well, listen to it afterwards because you'll be able to hear him after it's done.
There you go.
So, how's the world treating you, Mark, Seth? Mark and I know you fucking went to go do skydiving, and what happened with the skydiving?
Yeah, we went because 4 years ago JT wasn't old enough, so he had to go this time with us, and we got there at 9 o'clock, and by 11 o'clock they had only let a couple jumpers go, which were obviously trained jumpers, and then they kept us there for another 3 hours, and finally said that the pilot says cloud cover is too low. It's not that they won't let you jump through the clouds, but it's just not safe because of turbulence and everything else. So we had to put it off. So we're going to go after Christmas, and try again.
I'm going to say this. I still think you're a fucking goof for jumping out of a perfectly fine airplane.
Well, you know what? I'll agree with you 100%, but when you do it, I'm not kidding you, for the most part, when you hit the ground, you want to go again immediately. It's that much of a rush.
Really?
Yeah. It is an amazing, amazing rush. But I will say, I came in, I was all smiles. And one of the instructors goes, hey, you seem pretty happy. Why don't you explain to her how fun it was? And there was a woman sitting there crying. And I go, listen to me. I was very nervous too. I go, but it is an amazing. Right now, if I can get on a plane, I'm going again. And she was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. Long story short, when she got to the ground, she hunted me down in the gift shop to yell at me and said it still sucked and she would never do it again. And basically go fuck myself, But,
Everett, have you ever gone skydiving before?
I have not done skydiving, and I had a buddy who was a pilot, and he used to take people skydiving. I said, "Have you ever skydived?" He said the same thing you just did. Yeah. Never jump out of a good airplane.
Well, my experience was this: on the way up, they get to about 12,000 feet, and then the guys that are just jumping to have jumps, it is an amazing sight. This door opens up, okay, and they're crouched down in the corner as tight as they can go, and they literally run and dive out of the plane. And I'm like, these guys got sacks this big, you know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't do that. And then they're like we're at 14,000, another 2,000 feet before we can go. And I'm looking out the window going, this is not let's just let us go now. What do we need another 2,000 feet for? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And the whole time you're like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this until you leave that plane. And it is an amazing experience. And it was on my father-in-law's bucket list, and I agreed to it, not thinking he would ever do it. And then he calls me. This was 4 years ago. Goes, by the way, we're jumping out of a plane. I've already got the tickets. So I'm like, all right, I'm a man of my word.
Right.
But again, I think Seth, knowing what I know, would probably absolutely love it.
I've been wanting to do it for a long time.
Yeah.
My wife's done it twice before I knew her, and she wants to go this summer coming up, and I'm game.
I think that I meant to take pictures, but I don't want to be creepy. Almost all of the instructors look exactly like Jersey. They're like big, tall, in really good shape, and they walk around with these fitted wingsuits on, and I'm like, they got the hair that's all aerodynamic and pointy in the middle. I'm like, Jersey would fit right in here. But, again, it's an acquired taste. I think after I go this time, because my younger son obviously is going to fly or jump this time, I think I'll be done with it after that.
So I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this, and I don't know if he's watching or not. Maybe he'll watch it later. But Bill Jordan, I'm blocking Bill Jordan from the Squeegee Life YouTube channel.
Why? What's going on?
The only time this dude comments on my shit is once a year is when Michigan wins. First of all, I don't fucking watch college football. I'm from Ohio, but I don't watch college football. It's not, I just don't, it's not my thing. I'm a pro sports guy. I don't get into college football. And the only time I hear from this dude, it's Tim. I've told him 1,000 times. I was like, you want to get under somebody's skin? Get a hold of Tim. The only thing you've gotten under my skin now here is that you won't listen to what I say because I feel like you're either a drunk or you're mentally fucking retarded. It's one of the two, because when I say shit to you, you don't listen to me. And then you keep doing it. Like, stop it. You know what I mean? This is, I won't, all right, I'll tell you what. I won't block him this time, but if he comes on the live stream and says anything about Go Blue, what about this, what about that, I'm fucking banning him. I don't want to hear about it anymore. Trust me, I live in Ohio. All my friends are from Ohio. My family's from Ohio. And that's all I see for 2 weeks when Michigan loses or Ohio State wins, is people fucking crying about that football game for 2 fucking weeks. And I don't need some perfect total stranger that never speaks to me to get on my YouTube channel, and that'd be the only fucking thing he says to me. So with that being said, I'm going to eliminate you if you continue to do so. And I will not lose 1 second of sleep, I promise you. Please continue, fellas. I'm done.
Yeah, well, to get back to where we were, unless Seth, you've got something to say.
No.
Everett, so...
Fire.
The truck came back.
The fire.
And wait. The truck came back, let's just say late in the afternoon. Had, obviously, if it started at 4:45 or whatever you say, in the morning, everything had to be cooled down. So were chemicals mixed?
No, it was the stain. So what happens, oil-based stains will spontaneous combust. When they're liquid, they don't burn. But as they dry, like on the rags or in the
vapor,
The vapors.
Right.
Okay.
They'll blow. And it was in the back. It was a Toyota pickup, or a Ford Ranger pickup with the cap on it. And it just blew. There was no evidence of the cap. That truck just blew up.
Really?
And the worst part about it was my daughter was getting married on Sunday. That was a Wednesday. She was getting married here, and I had hay behind the truck on a wagon that was going to be for the pews. So it caught the hay on fire, and it was gone like that. So my wife says, Everett, do you know the building in the back's on fire? I no, believe it or not, I was awake.
Hey, Everett, do you know the... Yeah, I set that fire earlier. It's okay.
Yeah.
I ran back there, and all you see is a ball of fire, and you can see no vehicles, but you see vehicles coming out of the fire. I got 5 of them out, lost 2. 1 was getting fixed. So,
and you lost...
$250,000.
Lost $250,000, and but you lost a Ford Ranger though, man. That's a $1 million vehicle. Was it an older Ranger?
It was a 2013.
That is an older Ranger. Because that's just because they stopped making them, and then they changed them.
Yeah, they changed them, right?
So let me ask this, Everett. Because I've never heard of this, so educate me a little bit. Is there warning labels on these?
Yep.
Yes. About spontaneous combustion.
And I train it in the classes. I train my guys. I always say, if we're ever going to have a fire, make sure it's a dumpster fire. They didn't pull up and put the stuff in the dumpster. They went and some of these oil, the way they are now, oil stains to meet VOC compliance are very combustible. You can't mess around with these things. You've got to get the rags and get them in it. They should be ventilated. But I'll tell you what, I've had rags where I threw them in a trash can outside, and all of a sudden they lit and they were on fire. So even if it's ventilated, if it's in a container, it could still catch fire. So that's
my neighbor's house burnt down like 15 years ago because they did the same thing. They threw stain rags in the trash. The whole house went up.
Yeah. So now
around here,
is it an issue with the solvents that are in the stain? Wow, that is amazing.
Well, it doesn't take long, and especially with all the decking material and stuff I had in there. I had a trailer unit, a hot water pressure washer unit there. That went. I mean, it looked like the Terminator movie. All the metal in there was just all liquid, melting all over the place. It was intense.
Jeez. Wow.
We had firehouses here from an hour away. It was a brigade where they were backing water trucks up to three other rigs that had hoses just going on the barn. And the worst part about it is there was all feed corn all the way around, and it was about 2 weeks from being harvested. It was that dry. If it had gotten into corn, this would have been a hell of a really.
I had a lot of popcorn going off there. So let me ask, how big was this? How many square foot was this barn?
It was 90 by 50.
Wow. So like Man, that's a big.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big. That is big. Now, the whole thing went up, or just a section of it?
The whole thing.
Oh my God.
Whole thing. So I lost the contents. Now they were pretty quick. The insurance was pretty good to give me the money back for the building. They're pretty good with that, but they were a pain in the ass on the contents because it's not like like when your insurance burns down. They give you the rate to build it back in today's number. They don't do that with the contents of your stuff.
Yeah.
So they don't take anything into consideration: a hot water pressure washer and trailer, that shit.
Right.
They just wanted nickel and dime. It took them 6 months to get me that check.
Yeah. Wow. So obviously you've have some other protocols, for your rags and everything else like that. And are you rebuilt now, or what's going on with it?
Yeah, I have another building we're going to close in. We need a bigger building anyway. Worst part about that building was I had a well that ran through there to the back buildings, to my other offices, because we run the products out of one office and the contractor at another office. I had no water, no electric. Everything went through that building.
Yeah.
So we had to redo all that. So everything's redone. It's all good. Believe it or not, my guy showed up at 8:30 in the morning, and we were rolling out of here at 9. We still went to work that day.
Really?
You got to, man. You got to, man.
Yeah, someone's got to pay for
somebody got to pay for that, If you're watching this, like it. If you're watching a video, like it. Go ahead. Sorry.
When you see that fire, it's going to cost some money. You better go to work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
Well, I'm glad everything's still rolling well for you and everything.
It is.
It's got to be tough out there in the street, especially the pressure washing streets, man. You know what I mean? You're pressure washing, you're cleaning wood and like building decks and stuff like that, and then you got bozos. I'm only gonna bring this up because I've not often, if ever, seen you like not mean or nasty, but I've never seen you be snippy with anybody on the internet before. And then I seen one of your posts for your products and stuff, and some dude is in there trying to sell his products in the comments. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I've never, and it went on for a little bit before you actually said something. I was like, man, this guy has got some composure, because I would have instantly shit on this guy. And Everett was
selling wood products now. Selling wood products.
I gave him a chance to fix it.
Yeah.
And then I'll throw some names out. I don't care. So he did the same thing over to Carlos Gonzalez, and then he goes over and posted on his thing and did the same thing and shit on him. So I'm sitting there like, this guy's nuts. So you know what? I've stayed out of the fray.
Uh-huh.
And then I went, and I don't know if you saw it, because I got a call today about it. It was funny because I went and put a post up about hydrogen peroxide and bleach, and I put it on the different groups. And I haven't done that in a while, man. But I went to town. And you know what? They all shut the frick up. They haven't responded or been doing that. They were nuts then, but that's because nobody was pushing back on them.
Yeah.
What?
Dudes like that, we used to get a lot of criticism for the fact of how outspoken we are. And, if somebody doesn't do that, if things can't go unchecked, especially in industries like ours, both respectively, they're not huge. It's not like we're in the automotive industry, or we're all electricians, or we're all carpenters. We're all in a service-based business that has to do with cleaning. It's kind of niche, you know what I mean? So it's really easy for the dirtbags to stand out.
And the problem today is everybody's afraid to be the guy that pushes back. And I'm not the guy that's ever been afraid to push back. Right. I think I kind of bite my tongue because it's not worth it as much anymore.
Right.
But that guy, he came on my page and then shit on me.
Yeah.
There is an etiquette. There is a little bit of integrity.
Right.
You don't in the groups, I get it. It is what it is. But you don't go on somebody else's business page and post your products.
Right. That's completely wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
you don't, even if, say, you're posting, I think it's that poor form for a competitor. Say I sell T-shirts, and I get on Tim's T-shirt ad and be like, hey, man, buy these T-shirts. That is, no matter where that's at, that's just bad form.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tacky.
You know what I mean?
You guys
It's
want to hear the whole
tacky.
backstory to this?
Sure, dude.
There's
Yes.
a whole good backstory to this.
Yes.
So I teach a class and I teach generic. I don't teach about my product. I don't tell people use my products. The class I teach is generic. It's now on the National Deck and Railing Association's platform. It's on those kind of platforms. So I never say anything. So I get this private message one day from one of the guys telling me I'm trashing his product. I said, you don't know me. You don't come and send me a message like that. And just so you know, I'm the type of person that when you send me a message like that, just give me a couple days.
Mm-hmm.
You won't know it, but I'm going to show up on your doorstep.
Right.
But don't send me those kind of messages.
Yeah.
So he responds something stupid. I get back on there and I said, listen, I'm just telling you, now you've pissed me off. Don't ever come near me. Don't ever get in my face. Don't ever go anywhere where I'm. If you know I'm going to be in a place, don't go there because I won't say a word. I'm just going to walk up, clock you, and that'll be it.
Right.
So I just went down to Orlando. Asswipe comes up and says, listen, I want to apologize, puts his hands out. I'm there with the president of the PWNA and board members and all these people sitting there. And he wants to apologize. Well, I can't stand up and punch him, but I want to. So he sends over a bunch of tequila shots. They said, let's send him back. I said, screw the bastard, drink the tequila.
Right.
Then I come back and he posts on my page. So what the hell? So
Well, you know what? It's Christmas coming up, Everett. Maybe you should send them over a nice couple of rags. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
soaked in mesmers.
Right.
See, I'm the same. I feel the same way. I know I am the same. I've had run-ins with people on here that they just it's just us going back and forth, and we're probably never gonna like each other. There's only one dude that's ever gotten me to a point where I'm like, if I ever see you, it's on site. I'm not. There's not gonna. He would not be sending me. This is where you age gracefully, and Everett's like, if you come over to me, I'm gonna slap you, but I'm not gonna walk over there and slap you. I'm just letting you come close to me where I don't have to exude any energy, I'm gonna slap you. Me, if I see this dude, it's headlong, full steam, he's getting that ass whooping. I don't care where it's at. You know what I mean? So I totally understand that. There's some people out there that I think grew up in a weird time frame where, or in a weird area where there were no consequences for the things that they say and do. You know what I mean? Because when I was younger, I grew up I have a very large family. Mark knows this. I'm on the smaller side as far as my family goes. Like, everyone's way bigger than I am. So my uncle always told me, my Uncle Larry always told me, you never write a check. You don't let your mouth write a check your ass can't cash. That was like rule number one. Like, you don't talk shit to your older cousins. Don't talk shit. Don't do that, because most likely you're going to get the shit kicked out of you. You know what I mean? So there are people out there I do not think grew up like that. That don't have, they have not had a good beating before. You know what I
mean? The internet ruined people.
Yes.
Yeah.
The internet ruined how people talk to one another. Because some of the stuff you see in this group, you would never say to a person in public, because you die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
TJ and I spoke briefly earlier today, and it was like we were just going over a few things, and I said to him, our industry as a whole really doesn't have a lot of integrity. And I don't know about other industries, but you can bring the pressure washing right into that, just like window cleaning. And I'm sure other industries are similar, but people just don't. They'll step on your nuts just to freaking take something out of your pocket.
Oh yeah, and I'm and like I said earlier on the phone, Mark, it's most likely like that, and it is like that in every industry. However, it only stands out so much because of how small our communities are. You know what I mean? Right. It's not a really large deck restoration community or window cleaning community or pressure. It's not huge. It's fine. There probably are a lot of dudes out there, but it's still not a lot. You know what I mean? No. Compared to other trades.
Right.
The weird thing about it is it's an easy entry point. Mm-hmm. It's hard to be good, but it's an easy entry point. So it brings in a lot of people that in other industries you can't just.
So when they go
at Home Depot and be an electrician, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you can't just do that.
What Seth's saying is that if you went and applied to be an electrician, they probably make you the janitor, is what he's saying. What he means is you're probably the guy that walks around and picks up and sweeps up wood chips off the floor and shit like that.
Right.
That's probably what your job is. That's
Right.
probably what your job is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're a painter.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, they're fun groups. The painters are fun groups.
They are.
Dude, I'm gonna say this, and this is probably gonna come off really bad. Outside of Larry Crook, I've not met one fucking painter that's not a fucking junkie. I swear to God, every painter I've ever come in contact with is either drunk or stoned or whatever off his ass when he's doing what he's doing. I've not met one yet.
Yeah, and what's up with the fucking white pants? They all gotta look like the fucking ice cream man
It's the
showed
painters.
up, you know?
The very first very first tradesman or painter I ever ran into was so yacked out on pills all the time. He was a really small dude. Dude could paint like a motherfucker, though. He was really good. But it was just getting him to work to do it. I mean, once he got going, he'd knock it out. But it was just getting him there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And ever since then, I've not met one. And Larry's a former painter. So, maybe that has something to do. Larry, I know Larry knows what I'm talking about. There's a lot of... They're just... The majority.
When I used to work on job sites, they roll in at 10 a.m. and they're gone by 1 p.m.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, and there was an hour spent at lunch in between there somewhere. Yeah.
My cousin had his building. He's got it. You've been there, Mark. He had that whole building painted. The eyebrows, the sign out front, the whole back of the building, everything. Had everything painted. And the dudes that painted it, man, were like, all right, we'll be back. We're going to go for lunch. He's like, where you go? Oh, we're going to go to the bar. It's like $1.57. Like 3 hours later, these dudes rolled back, just zoinked out of their shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hercules drunk, and I'm just like, why? And they painted all night. It's whatever, but geez, dude. Like, who cares about your life? You know what I mean? You don't care about your life at all.
Yeah.
It's terrible, man. Yeah, I didn't mean to get... If there's any painters watching, I apologize for what I said.
No, but that's the common thing. I told a story. I had a house I used to clean. It was like 25,000 square foot, all cut-ups. And the homeowner was asking if I knew any painters that really did a good job. And I did know a guy, been painting for 20 years. I said, listen, I'm going to give you a great referral. It's on the island. And he says to me, I'll cut you in for 10%. I said, I don't want 10% on you. Okay, what I want is you to promise me that you're not going to paint my fucking windows, because I know you're going to go spray this house and back roll it. And he's like, Mark, you have my word. Well, sure enough, it took like 2 months to paint this house by the time the weather cleared and they did all their prep work. And I get there following thereafter, and the homeowner was like, oh my God, he did such a great job. And I'm like, good, I'm glad that worked out for you. Until I washed the windows and everything was oversprayed. The windows, the frames, the gaskets, and everything. And I'm like, I call him up. I'm like, dude. And then I go, here's what's going to happen. You're going to come out here with razor blades and destroy the glass in this house. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, there's no way it's ever going to be the same. And that's exactly what happened. And after that, you know what?
Dude, I'm going to tell you that. I'll tell you this, man. I used to do construction cleans. This is literally a block from my house, and it was just easy money. You know what I mean? Anytime he called me, boom, I go do it, pay me cash. It was awesome. And they hired a new painter. He did 8 units, so 2 buildings. So they're like ranch styles, and it has 4 condos in each, 4 garages. You know what I'm talking. You guys, they're probably cookie cutter condos for seniors all over the country. You know what I'm talking about. They hired this new painter, and each one of these houses has 2 French doors inside of them with cut-ups, wooden. Very nice, very expensive doors. This dude painted every single one of them. There wasn't the construction plastic over there. There was none of that on them. He painted the glass and all.
Ugh.
And I get there, and the dude's like, yeah, we got these. I'm like, all right, cool. And I get in there, and I walk in, and the guy that I've been dealing with all these years is like, he's like, everything's cool, right? I said, yeah. He goes, just stop up at the office on your way out and I'll pay you. And I'm like, all right, cool. So, it's a cool, I think it may be like $600-$800, somewhere around in there cash. How could you not, you know what I mean? It's, it takes me a couple, like maybe 3 hours to do them. Because I got them all set up to get them done. But as we're walking out, we make a left. And I was like, I'm going to go look real quick. And I go and I look, and I'm like, hey, did you notice that these doors are painted? He's like, yeah, I told him to go ahead and just paint the whole thing, and you would take care of it. And I was like, I'm not doing that.
No.
And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, I tell you what, I'll do each one of those doors for $200.
Yeah.
A piece. He's like, a piece? I'm like, yeah. But I said, because if I do this, it is almost a certainty that they're going to get scratched. I mean, they're interior, single pane, painted, and I don't mean like one coat of paint, Everett. I mean like 3 coats of paint. Like he primed them bitches and then put two finishing coats over top. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So, needless to say, I didn't do them, and that guy has never called me back. But, I mean, there's a limit to what I'll do for, you know what I mean? And if you won't move with me a little bit on the price, I mean, what am I supposed to do? I can't help you hire a dipshit painter, and you're a dipshit too, and you signed off on that.
Right.
That's not my problem now. That's your problem.
Yeah, well, when I started my company, I was doing a lot of construction cleaning to have something to do, and I got into a neighborhood that was like 300 homes, and I started doing the construction clean. And then as we got into the houses, they were just getting worse and worse with overspray and paint. And I finally ran my mouth to one of the superintendents. I'm like, I'm just trying to understand why these painters can't figure out where the stucco is and the paint and the glass is, because they fucking paint all over the window frames. They get paint all over the glass. And he must have went and reprimanded him. So like 2 houses down, because I was just following the line, the guy literally taped off and painted an entire sliding glass door with a roller. You could see the roller marks. And then he pulled the tape so it wasn't on the gaskets. So when I got to that house, I noticed it right away. I washed everything else and left, submitted my ticket at the end of the week to get paid, and it was 1 house short, And I'm like, what's going on, you guys? It's short. He goes, you missed a window at this address. So I went back there, and it's sure enough. I didn't remember. I walked in, and I was like, there's the slit. I walked back. I took a picture of it, and I went back. I go, I'm not cleaning that. What? I go, that was done deliberately. I go, the guy actually taped off the gaskets and frames and rollered the window. I said, you need to get your painter and let him go take care of that, because I'm not doing it. I go, I will quit right now, and I will not even take what you owe me for that house. I am not, on principle, going to scrape that off.
You got a horror story, Everett? I mean, you do a lot of stuff. So I
got so many overspray things we've run into all over the place, from especially today with the composite decks. People don't realize their house done, and then there's little specks on the deck. They don't realize until they go to clean it, and you say, hey, that's overspray. Did you get something painted? Sure enough, that's what happens. But we constantly are out there. We send cameras out, plus they have the phones, but we're taking pictures of everything before we start a job anymore, because you got to cover your ass.
Yes.
But it's on the glass, it's on the air conditioning condenser, it's on the deck. Sometimes you don't really notice it. It might be on the top of the handrails on the deck. You don't notice the deck, that kind of stuff, but you got to look for all that stuff. Yeah,
because they'll find a way.
Well, roof washers. Roof washers are just as bad. The bleach is too strong. They don't protect the damn deck or the surroundings. They're killing plants, leaving spots on decks, all kinds of stuff.
I seen a dude. There's a dude around here. He's really prominent in the area for roof cleaning. I mean, his whole company's built around roof cleaning. He does pressure washing too, but he's a and every 2 or 3 times a year I'll be going through a neighborhood and I'll see shit just nuclear assaulted,
annihilated,
just dead. You know what I mean? Lines in the grass for where they drug the hose through and it was leaking, just destroyed. You know what I mean? The roof is super clean though.
So let me ask you this, Everett, because we've all come across this. Yeah. I hire you to come do work at my house, cleaning, okay? Maybe you're going to reseal my deck and this and that. And I say, okay, Everett, send me the price. You sent me the price. We make an agreement. And then when everybody else is done now, we're going to get Everett in here to do his job. And Everett shows up, and now it's a fucking mess. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you bid a construction clean, you better, I tell them, if it has to look like this, when I get back. But I can see the painter's not done, the stucco guy's not done. That's the price on what I'm looking at now. And when you get back and you've got a signed contract, how do you handle that? You know what I'm saying? Like if it's 10 times more than you thought.
Change order.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to do a change order. We put it in the estimate too that anything that changes would require a change order.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you how I started doing that. This is how I got burned a long time ago. I did the lady couldn't pay me. Her husband had died. She had a handicapped son. She was selling the house. We redo the house, got the deposit. I actually filmed a commercial there back in the day, back when you had you couldn't, you couldn't edit everything. So we had to make sure that the days were similar with the sun and the clouds and all that crap. But anyway, the lady asked me she was supposed to landscape these 3 big bushes in the side of the house. She never got them done. So what we did was we trimmed them back. We put a board behind there, a rope. We pulled them and we stained the house behind there. Then she asked me about doing the Bilco doors on the basement. It wasn't on the estimate. I said, the hell with it. I'll just do it. We'll get this thing done. I did those 2 items.
Mm-hmm.
She sues. She goes to a lawyer because she can't pay me. I'm going to sue her, And then I walk in and they said, Everett, did you do any other work besides what was in the contract? I said, well, no, we did everything in the contract. No, but you do other work? I said, well, yeah. I said, but it was free. It was no charge. He goes, yeah, but there is no such thing as free. I said, what do you mean? He goes, there's no such thing as free. It has a value. So when you do free work, you still have to do a change order and put that you're doing it for free for this value. I said, get the frick out of here.
So did that invalidate the contract?
It violates the Consumer Fraud Act, and I have to pay her 3 times. The penalty is 3 times the amount of the estimate. That's what the judge rules in her favor. I would have to pay 3 times, and I violated the Consumer Fraud Act without using a change order for free service.
Holy cow!
I gotta say that's terrible.
Yes.
Yeah, that sucks. Wow. I can tell you this. Yeah. I learned something from my cousin once. He told me he'd been after this guy for years to pay an overdue rental. Like he kept a skid steer for like 2 weeks longer than he was supposed to. So my cousin lost out on renting it. So he just charged him for the rent. You know what I mean? Each day it was gone, he charged him for. Well, he had this huge ass bill, and the dude sent him a check. He's like, "I'll send you a payment." So he sent him a payment. And my cousin submitted it and then tried to, again, collect on him again. And the dude's lawyer, his dude's lawyer sent my cousin a fax with a check. He cashed the check, and in the memo it said paid in full.
Right, and you cashed it, so that.
And he cashed it. That's a legal binding fucking contract. He got dicked out of all that money, dude. All that money, dude. Ooh, and my cousin, and that. Like Everett, and this is what's cool about these podcasts and stuff like that, is younger guys or guys that have been in the business not very long or doing business very long can learn from people like Everett and my cousin to learn, and Mark,
right.
And to that, like, you over time, your agreements, your estimates, the way your business run, all that stuff changes due to scumbags around you. You know what I mean? These are things that you learn. I would have never in a million years guessed to do that. I tried doing that to the IRS, but it didn't work.
Right. But so many times you'll be reading something on Pro Window Cleaning or whatever, and a guy's like, yeah, I cleaned this house. Mm-hmm. It's been 3 months. She's dodging me, this and that. She owes me $400. And I'm like, okay, do you have an agreement with this person? Do you have a contract? Mm-hmm. Well, no. And I go, look, people poo-poo me when I say anything over $200 is getting that signature. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm willing to take a $200 hit. We've all done it, okay? And I don't want to scare off the little customer making sign a contract for $50 of cleaning. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So at the same time, whenever I do, building work and whatnot, I sign their contract, they sign mine, everything works. But to me, I've had people gone to look at some scratch glass. I'm like, okay, we can do it for $300. It's going to cost you $300 to fix these 2 windows. When can you do it? Well, you're going to have to sign. And I don't have contracts on me. I have them drawn up. It'll be emailed to you. Okay, so when are we getting a date? When you sign it. Well, what does that mean? I go, because I'm not, my time is my time. You understand? So once you sign it, we assign it a date, and we will be here. But no tiki, no laundry, because I've been smoked like everyone else.
Well, I mean, no tiki, no Jesus. Jesus. Commercial work, I'm pretty. Like, I line that shit out super, super straight. You know what I mean? With the contracts and all. But residential, like cleaning residential windows and stuff like that, unless it's for a contractor on a construction clean or something like that. But I have a very strict rule. First-time customers, residential inside, now I have a very strict rule. When I am done, you will pay me when I am finished. Yeah. I am not, if you cannot be there to pay me when I am done, tell me what day you can be there to pay me when I'm done, and we'll do it that day. Because I'm not waiting on no resi check. That ain't ever happening to me ever again. You know what I mean?
I would assume with a business like Everett,
I got like 8 liens right now on property. 8. Yeah, I got like 8 liens on these dudes.
Yeah, Everett shows up with.
Gonna get my money one of these days.
Guys, it ain't a $200 bill. So I you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, we still the way I approach it with the change order with a customer though is it protects you and it protects us. Mm-hmm. So I let them protect the customer as well. And if somebody's not going to sign a change order, then that just tells me, okay, well, I don't belong here anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: I've heard of the term change order. I've never done that. That is worded how?
Okay, so everything that you put on the estimate, the property, the name, the property, phone number. And then the change order is what the change is that is other than what's on the original contract.
Okay.
Otherwise, whatever. And sometimes we'll even do, we still do that. We're going to, do such and such for no charge, and this is what we're charging for.
Yes.
So we make sure that we differentiate that, but it's pretty detailed in that paragraph that we're adding.
Right.
Then sometimes we'll accompany that with a picture, like if it's something that's structural on a deck, if it's just pressure washing a house or.
Jacob Dell says Everett and myself work for free. It's part of our parole.
Good to hear from Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still not allowed within 50 yards of a school, but other than that, he's doing okay.
I thought that was him in the costume in the ice cream truck, though.
Right. There you go, with the white pants on, pretending he's a painter.
Yeah. I tell you what, I mean, so you guys build decks too, correct?
We build decks, and I just put a post up in my group the other day about how the calls are on, a little south with the economy. And in August, September, I saw the calls going down, and people were starting to hedge a little. So I did something proactive. I actually hired a couple people and sent them out into the street. We also got in touch with all the HOA. HOAs still have money when the economy goes. We know this.
Hot. At least for the next year, because they've been banking it. Yeah.
So guess what? I posted that 2 days ago in the morning. 2 hours later, I got a confirmation that the board in a apartment complex, condominium complex, approved us for 178 decks.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Restoring or complete construction?
Turn the game down on your mic.
They're rebuilds.
Okay.
Yeah, they're all they all got to be ripped out and rebuilt.
What do you need me to do?
I could hear you drinking your Gatorade.
You know what's the weird thing, dude? I have the volume turned down to the lowest.
I think it's your microphone. On your microphone?
I have it turned down lowest.
Oh shit! Well, what kind of microphone is that?
I have the Yeti Blue.
Bro.
Oh yeah, I got the other Yeti. That's black.
I have a Yeti Blue too. Like, which do you have a settings on the back of it? Like, it's got different mic positions.
Yeah, I've left it at the same mic position for probably
the one. Did I tell you to put it there? The one that looks like a heart. The one that looks like a heart. It's still there.
Yeah, I haven't touched it.
And you have your gain all the way down too, huh?
Yeah.
Man, for whatever reason, your microphone is hot as shit.
Yeah, maybe move it away a little bit.
Here, let me move it even further away. It's about
no shit.
It's about 3 feet from me. Yeah.
Dude, that is crazy. Dude, it's mad crisp, bro. Like I could hear the Gatorade going down your throat.
I could literally put my arm
all the way out.
The
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to sweat you. I'm just, hey, listen, man, that motherfucker is hot. You got a good one.
I don't know what's going on with it.
Who knows?
Is that any better?
Yeah, it is. It is a lot better. Because I can hear you blowing your cigarette smoke out. And
I feel like I've moved it like almost off the desk.
It's in the
maybe maybe we all need to get one of those things, those foam things, to go over it.
Right.
I'll be my. Oh jeez.
You sure that's a microphone?
Hey, Mark, you want to come over and find out?
So decks. So yes, you found your deck building was taken. It's kind of hard not to expect that right now. Things are really weird.
They are, but you know what? I jumped on it proactively, and I cut some other stuff, but I pushed out on that stuff, and we got a couple other leads. We're meeting another one tomorrow. It's probably going to be a 6-figure job. But what that does too is when we get in there and we do that stuff, it also opens us up for the pressure washing and the other stuff because we've already for the concrete. We're going to stay with these people. That's the way it's going to work out.
Yeah.
So.
I have a company like a contract that I've been doing for like 16 or 17 years, and I've been dealing with the same guy for the last 4 years. And when we first set this up, it was through like there's like a church community charity that runs the whole thing, you know what I mean? And they were setting up the condo part of the job and the apartment part of the job. They kind of oversaw all that, but they set up both. And after dealing with this guy for 4 years, after he took over, they separated everything, and now the condominium association, they pay for everything, their own stuff, and the apartments, they pay for their own stuff now. So I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, yeah, these gutters back here. He goes, had some guy come back here, and I got stuff growing out of the gutters still. And I'm like, well, why don't you call me, man? I would have done them. I'll do the gutters for the same price I do the windows for. I was like, same price. You know what I mean? Because these are like 12 pitches. I mean, I could walk on them with a leaf blower and blow these things out. You know what I mean? And they got good gutter guards on the backside where their trees are at. But the valleys pack up with shit. There's so much stuff packed up in the valleys that those nice gutter guards really become ineffective because they can just get leaf litter just dies on the top and stays there. But I just blow them all out. Yeah. Just one conversation with a guy. So now I'm doing the gutters, and now he's like, well, he goes, do you know anybody that pressure washes? I'm like, yeah, I pressure wash too, man. I was like, come on, man. And he's like, really? I'm like, hey. He goes, well, I want to do everything in the spring. He goes, I want you to come in and do all the concrete and spray all the houses down. And I'm like, yeah, I will take all of your money. All the money that you want to give me, I will do. Like, just give me a call. I'll come out and trim the bushes. Just let me know what you need from me.
Yeah.
Well, what's funny with the composite decks that everybody's building now, too, and all these products, because the wood is going up higher, too. So more and more buying these other decks. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. I think the guys are missing the boat because if you're a pressure washer or a window cleaner, that's extra money, man. Real quick money is people will clean those composite decks 2, 3, 4, 6 times a year, depending on what their level of comfortability is with it. If they had a wooden deck, they would never clean it and they wouldn't stain it. But every 2, 3, 4, 5 6 years,
if ever.
Right.
Now, Everett, what's the cost comparison wood over composite?
Right now?
Yeah.
They're close now, aren't they?
Yeah, they're very close. So if you took the low end, Trex and TimberTech came out with 3 popular colors, and they have a lower line that is actually between 2 and 3, like 2 and $2.50 a linear foot. You're going to spend $1.85 to $2.25 for good pressure treated prime kiln dried PT for decking. So if it's comparable, why buy the wood? That's what people are doing. They go to the composite. So.
Yeah.
Still a 25-year guarantee.
Well, we had an instance on a very high-end home that was brand new, and the homeowner didn't like any of the color options for is it Trex? I think Trex deck, right? It's like a tongue and groove wood plastic. Not only did he like it so much, the eaves above the patio was the same deck as the floor, and then he didn't like the colors, so a company came in and stained it like a brown, let's say, right? The problem was they told us, do all the pressure cleaning and window cleaning, and we weren't, I wasn't familiar that it was a stained deck. So if you dragged a pressure cleaning hose across it, that wasn't a single piece, so it had a connection. That brass connection was scarring the living shit out of that wood. And then after we saw it, we stopped what we were doing, okay, and got just 100-foot piece of hose instead of 250s. The damage was done, and then they came in and tried to stain it, and it had already faded, and it was a freaking nightmare. Now, was that stained with the wrong material, or it's just not a good idea to stain that stuff?
Not really a good idea to stain it. So the old stuff that's uncapped was stainable. You could stain that, but that's really a Band-Aid to get to the new stuff.
Yeah.
New stuff you shouldn't stain,
Yeah.
but that does scratch.
Yeah.
You know, these people all think it's scratch proof, but it isn't. You know, all of a sudden they think, you know, if they had a wood deck, they wouldn't be dragging furniture across there and umbrellas, but they go and they do that.
Right.
Well, it's done.
Yeah, and in looking at it several years later, when we go back, I don't think it was ever put down properly, because I think it was concrete, and then they must have put down some, and I could be wrong, I'm not a constructor guy, some kind of furring strips to lay the deck on, but it waved like this. I mean, all the seams started to open where they butt them together, and I'm like, this is hideous. This is a nightmare. You know, I'm sure this guy's regretting this.
I wouldn't. I mean, just me personally, I would never have a composite deck. I don't like them at all. I'm just not a fan. I mean, I'm not necessarily a pressure treated decking 5/4 board guy. You know what I mean? I'm not really that dude either, but like maybe like a teak deck or something like that. That'd be dope. But like I don't have a deck, so I've got concrete. You know what I mean? I don't have a need for a deck. But if I was gonna have a deck, it wouldn't be composite. I just don't like the stuff.
Yeah.
We did a teak deck, and it came out beautiful about a month and a half ago. Beautiful.
I've got a customer that I've had for years that's got a teak deck, and there ain't a damn thing wrong with it. I mean, he takes care of it, of course. You know what I mean? He does regular routine, which is, you know, I hate doing it, but I do it for him because he asked me all the shit I had to go and read into about how to properly clean that thing. Yeah, that was a lot of hit or miss. He had his own ideas, and I'm like, no, man, you can't do it like that, dude. It's going to tear it up. And he went and did it. Now, listen, he went and did it and fucking tried to torch that tiki deck off with super close with a pressure washer, and I'm like, bro, I'm glad you started at that end and where the benches and the grill sits, because that looks. He's like, he goes, I should have listened to you. I was like, yeah, man, it's not. Yeah, let's do some research before we fuck this beautiful deck up. So outside of that, it's still a beautiful deck, man. It's so nice, such a nice surface. I really like it.
Well, yeah, I thought about Everett, and I almost called you. Okay, but not knowing you well, I feel bad asking you questions. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you call me an
I have a house that we still do to this day. The guy owns 2 homes in a row, very, very wealthy man. And the guest house, which is like 4,000 square foot, the house manager comes out and goes, they want you to start, all of the wood around the windows and decks are all knotless teak, okay? And they want the teak to turn gray, and it looks absolutely gorgeous because it's all new. It's got that golden color to it, and the smell. You can smell the teak, right? Mm-hmm. So I go, okay, let me go online, and there was all kind of information, and I'm like, you know what? I took a garden hose, and I rinsed around the window frames, you know, because it's surrounded by teak. And this brown, the amount of oil that comes out of that, and I was doing it every 10 to 15 days, and it didn't stop, and because they want it to turn gray. It's finally starting to turn gray, which I think it looked better the way it was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, originally I came from the boating industry, and the Boston Whalers always had really nice teak on them, and the guys at that time used to use automatic transmission fluid. Everett's probably going to laugh, but they would wipe the wood down with automatic transmission fluid to keep it from drying out, and it looked gorgeous.
Yeah. So a lot of people, and we did here on the farm too, drain motor oil. People down in
I've heard of that as well.
In the South, that's what they do. They have some cabins and wood homes, drain motor oil.
Yeah. I've heard that too. I mean, I live really close to the water myself, so I mean, but I'm on a Great Lake, not an ocean. But I mean, you see the dudes around here, the shit they come up with is just weird to me. And that's the motor oil and the transmission fluid on the deck. I never in a million years, but the old dudes swear by it, man.
Yeah, well, my neighbor has a utility trailer.
I'm like, if that thing ever catches fire, dude, you know, it's done.
My neighbor took his utility trailer, replaced all the wood on it, okay, and then I'm smelling for days this solvent. You know, I'm like, dude, what did you do over here? And he took used diesel oil out of his truck, thinned it down with diesel fuel, and brushed it on that trailer. You know, to this day, there's not a piece of rotted wood on that trailer anywhere. I mean, it's like 7 years later, my trailer needs new wood, and his is still as good as the day he put that on.
So, you know,
I'm sure
that,
EPA,
a lot they burn. I mean, like to get like if you build a cabin or something like that and do it the old school way, charring the wood, burning it, that'll make it last forever too, man. It just you know,
you remember creosote? We used to use creosote back in the day.
Yeah. So. I mean,
they used to put that on the bottom of telephone poles.
I don't understand why shit's burning down so fast.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Went up like a half a day. You know what I mean?
It might be the creosote. I don't know. So I seen something in here, and I've been wanting to ask Seth this because Seth's a money man. Seth's always looking for an angle to make cash. Him and his brother Andrew are always looking for an angle to make cash. Damien is doing a lot of Christmas light hanging. Are you what's up, Seth? Are you gonna get into it?
So
I see you do it around here.
You know Mike we had on the podcast?
Yeah.
Mike
Still
was
pissed.
the kid from here.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to give away too much, but he started doing some holiday lighting, and I was interested, so I said, "Hey, I'll go to one of your jobs for free. I just want to learn how to do it." It is by far the easiest thing I've ever done in my life, and the amount of money that you can make doing it, I'm already like planning for next year on holiday. I have a little bit of an electrical background to begin with, so I thought it'd be interesting. There's guys around me that swear that like they do almost $500,000 a year. And
I've heard that.
Christmas lighting.
Now I know somebody that owns a landscaping company in my area that does it and doesn't want to do it anymore. And he's been kind of, and like he orders, you know, his lights on big rolls, and he does it, you know, the OG way, you know, the good way, he calls it.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, man, I'm really thinking about taking a bite out of that apple. I mean, why not? You know what I mean? Why not, dude?
Yeah.
In your area, you can get anywhere between. Ohio might be a little bit different, but here it's like $10 to $14 a foot on the house, probably like $6 or $7 down on the ground, and then trees are about $40 or $50 per foot of tree. The only thing you have to do, the only problem that a lot of people run into is storage. A lot of people, you have to store their lights for them, so that's the only issue.
Yeah, some do. My buddy he's an electrical contractor, and he gears up. He's been doing it now for almost 2 months. He does a lot of community work, but he has a program. He'll come to your house. He'll take a picture of your house. He puts it into the software, and then you pick your light. You can literally put the lights on the house and see what it's going to look like before he starts. That program will tell him how much of this he needs, how much of that he needs. Now, when he's done,
stop for real.
I'm not kidding. Yeah, and then when he's done, especially on the communities. Dude, his guys go out there with their bucket truck and nippers. They just cut it down. He goes, I don't even store it. It's so cheap nowadays. Everybody pays enough. I throw it away. We just scrap all of the. Yeah. He comes back with boxes, and his guys strip it and sell the copper. And but he does not. Well, I'm talking about communities, not Mrs. Newsbaum's house.
Yeah.
You know, but when he does the entranceway to communities and wraps the trees all the way up, he's like, I cut it down and throw it away. Plus, again. You know, Seth, you've got the electrical background. You usually, I would assume, have to add outlets and stuff for people, you know, and then the next year you don't have to.
Well, I mean, adding outlets would be something I'd get an electrical contractor to do anyway. So with your friend who already has the license for it,
You got to be a licensed electrician to be doing some shit like that, to add an outdoor outlet. You know what I mean? You got to know what you're doing. So I don't want Bill, Bill. I don't want Bob watching. Right. I don't want Bob, whoever's watching this later. Bob, don't go and buy a pair of wire pliers and start installing electricity. Just hang the lights, bro.
Staying in your lane's not a bad
Just hang the lights, bro. Don't listen to Mark.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying what my buddy does. I don't do. So Everett, you do window cleaning as well, or
we do it for the homes that we do. So that's it. We're not going out doing window cleaning per se.
Yeah.
But we restore a house or we're pressure washing a house, we'll do exteriors.
Nice.
Now, do you divisionalize between your install guys and your cleaning guys, or are they hand in hand?
We put guys where they're going to be best, but they're all cross-trained to do everything, so we can all help each other out. We're behind on, we can jump over there.
That's a good way to manage it, because it's really not everyone is cut out to read a tape measure and cut a piece of wood. Some people just never get it.
No. Sometimes too, some guys just want to change. They want to, instead of working staining, they want to work, help building a deck or something like that just once in a while. And sometimes, it happens too where a couple guys aren't getting along really good or something like that, and you switch them off and then they get back together and blah, blah, blah. You just cross-train them. It works out better for everybody. It creates a lot more teamwork. A lot of times anymore, it used to be a pain in the ass, but now anymore, when you get the thing going really well, they don't even call you. They call each other and say, hey, can you come over and help? Okay, well, just make sure it's okay with the guy, and they'll call you where it's okay. So they create their own teamwork with it.
So Everett, do you struggle to find new help like most?
Not at all. I haven't had a problem with help for a long time, but I overpay guys.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You got to keep them paid. You got to keep them happy. It's tough sometimes, but I think
it's a very overlooked aspect of the business. Overpaying, in my belief, is you're underpaying, because if you're constantly hiring and firing guys, that amount of money that you think you're saving, you really end up losing on it. So
you lose when you're hiring all the time and training all the time.
Yeah.
So if my guys come back year after year after year and no worries, and where they stay working, the guys that get laid off come back. I mean, I got an Amazon near me. They were paying $19 an hour to start, so I had to kind of confront that a long time ago. So it's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, that's a challenge when they can go drive a van for $19 an hour or carry a bucket for $15. I'm like, give me the keys.
You guys have Wawas in Florida too. Wawas, they're starting guys at $16, $17 an hour.
Yeah,
You got to. And then skilled carpenters, I mean, they're hard to find because they're either running their own business or they're with the painters drinking it.
Right.
Well, not only that, but skilled trades themselves are looked down upon in society now.
Yeah.
It's like a meaningless position. Everyone has got pink fucking hair and shit like that, and they don't want to. If they get a splinter, they'll die. It's really, really tough right now out there in the trades. It has to be. I just don't see any real men anymore. There's not very many. There's not very many Eddie Stewarts left in the world, I guess. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you know what? That's going to create an opportunity at some point.
Yeah.
Damien said his daughter makes $19.25 an hour making pizza at Marco's.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, it's.
Dude, inflation is a crazy thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It's weird how that works. It's weird how
everybody was bitching a few years ago about the minimum wage going to 15. Just society made it $20 an hour pretty quick.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the labor force just. I mean, and I don't know. I mean, it could be perfect for everybody and everywhere else, but where I'm at, like, and they're not the best jobs in the world, but like the service industry, like fast food and restaurants and stores and stuff like that. They're always hiring around here. Always. Yeah. They're like open hiring events nonstop. It's like, where did all the people go that had these jobs before COVID.
I think it's a societal shift, man. I feel like it's like a mental societal shift is happening, and we're in the middle watching like one side who's like super old school and this new, I don't know, whatever you want to call it is happening, and the trades are being not left behind but neglected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's going to be tough. I mean, there'll probably be a resurgence at some point. There has to be. There's going to be too much money in the field for someone not to go after it. But it's nuts.
Scary, man.
It is, yeah. Well, it's weird being alive during what's like historical moments happen once a month now. You know what I mean? It's just weird. It's weird.
Hey, Everett, I didn't say earlier, but whenever you feel like you need to go, if you got something going on, you just let us know.
I'm good to go.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to let you know that. I didn't want you to, if you maybe have to go and, take your pills before bed or something like that. I don't know. You know what I mean?
No, you take blood pressure medicine. You know that.
Yeah. I need blood pressure medicine. Blood pressure medicine. Yeah, I got to work on that. My main problem is, I carry, a spare tire around my waist all the time. I think that's why my back hurts all the time. I got this shed built over my tool. You'd think I'd be swinging a sledgehammer, but it's more like a tack hammer. You know what I mean? So I don't understand why I got this big shelter over it. You know what I mean? I look like I got a shed that looks for something like it busts concrete, but I'm just nailing staples into fucking carpet. You know what I mean? I'm not really doing a whole lot. You
You get a side by side parked in a 3-car garage.
Yeah. It's not good. You know what I mean?
I've been there.
Yeah. So Everett, knowing what you know about wood and everything, because everybody knows that like you're at the top of the game there. Does it frustrate you when you just see so much misinformation online about the way people are cleaning wood nowadays, or suggesting certain products that in your head are just going to go damage what they're attempting to do?
Yeah, it does get frustrating. I think back in the day, we started earlier in the conversation about the groups and different things and posting, and I used to be a little more confrontational because I'm really passionate. I'm still have the same passion. I just don't have it in me to the arguing.
Yeah.
So if people want to take the misinformation, that's fine. I think the cat's already out of the bag. We can't do anything about social media, the internet, YouTube, whatever. It's kind of the person that's viewing it's going to have to figure out the information, which kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the way where we're at, or the way it is at this point. I do think that the problem with wood, and probably with a lot of other stuff, is it was so simpler back in an earlier time. 70s, 80s, 90s was a lot simpler. We only had bleach and sodium hydroxide. We either cleaned it or we stripped it. That was it. We were all dealing with oil bases. Then the government, which we talked about that earlier, got involved, and they changed the way all these things are formulated. Water bases came out, hybrids. There's all kinds of crap out there today. So there's more chemicals and more products out there than used to be. So there's more education and knowledge that's needed. And if you get the right product, or the right chemical, the right thing you need to restore the wood, clean it, strip it, whatever the tech is, get the right product. It's easy.
Yeah.
The problem is everybody's still trying to do that binary thing from back in the day where it was bleach or sodium hydroxide, and it just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So I find that people get frustrated. I think the old school guys, the OGs, been hanging in there, are pretty good.
Yeah.
The guys that were around in the 2000s, they got frustrated with all these new coatings and all the new stuff coming out. And you saw a lot of guys get frustrated. We used to say it all the time. We still in the groups where they say, burn it down. That Forrest Gump's running away from the deck and all that stuff. But the newer guys that have come since like 2015, they seem a little more flexible. They seem a little more like sponges. They're soaking in a lot of the knowledge. And I see a lot of good stuff from a lot of young people come out today.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I wish I could say the same for what we're doing. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not working. It's not working out.
Everyone's a guru in 6 months.
In 6 months. Let me show you how to do this, and I'll charge you to show you.
I'll tell you what, there wasn't water-fed poles today, and everybody was running around with squeegees. How many people would be doing window cleaning today?
Not very.
75% of them would be gone.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody went easy.
Yeah.
I notice it. I notice, and I think Mark's. I think that's a good. I'd say at least 75%, because there's a lot of jobs that I get just because the dudes don't do inside work. They you know what I mean. They don't do like most people. You know, I mean, if you've ever cleaned a window before or had your windows cleaned, you know the inside is just as important as the outside. You don't realize how dirty the inside of your windows are until you've had the outside cleaned. You know what I mean? So when most of these guys run around, if they can't hit it with a water-fed pole, they're not hitting it. You know what I mean? So that's unfortunate. You know what I mean? But it's good for me. But it's, you know, like, man, dude, a lot of these dudes wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for that. I think that's a fair statement. You know?
Yeah. Definitely.
It's a little more labor intensive than, you know, most things in these cleaning industries. You know, window cleaning, you know, you could be jamming and doing a great job, but after you're done, you can go back and look at it and it looks like complete dog shit. You know what I mean? And it's hard to charge for dog shit when you're cleaning windows. You know what I mean? It's gotta be right, or why do I have you here? You know, because it's something that you really don't need.
Yeah.
You don't really need your windows cleaned. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can always squirt them off with a hose. You could be that
guy.
But
what happens in 10 years? Who's going to stain the deck and who's going to wash windows?
My son.
Crazy.
My son.
My old ass.
My old ass, probably. Yeah, I'll be the wizard of windows, bro, and they'll be like having me on podcasts and shit talking about the good old days back when we used to use squeegees and shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what I'll be doing, Everett. That's what I'll be doing.
Well, I've always said that. Watching somebody really knows how to clean windows, and it's not every day that you see that. There is an art to it, to really being good at what you do. Watching someone splash and dash with the water fed, you know, I mean,
it's like that with everything. Yeah. Well, it's like that in every industry, though. You're gonna have guys that are just really, even if to get down to guys that fix cars and shit. You know what I mean? There's an art to that as well. You know what I mean? So it's like seeing somebody that's done something for plenty of years. You know what I mean? You got to have an appreciation for that. I think. You know what I mean? No matter what it is. You know. Like even if you're fixing. If you work at a still dealership and you fix chainsaws and fucking weed whackers all day, there's an art form to that too. You know what I mean? It just all what you put your effort into.
You can never discount the experience.
Sandwich artist like Jacob Williams, the sandwich artist. He's a badass over there at fucking Subway. Sandwich artist. Jacob Williams. That's where Jacob Williams couldn't be here tonight because he had the late shift at Subway.
Right, he's working on that new menu that they've been talking about.
No, actually, he's at
Berenstein Bears books.
He's at a book fair, selling books at a book fair. Is what Jacob Williams is doing tonight. If anyone's wondering, I don't know. Dude.
Saw, guys.
So Everett. Where your company is today, is that where you want to try to keep it? Are you flying at altitude, or you still looking to grow the business bigger?
I wasn't really trying to grow it bigger, but it grows on itself, on its own.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're gonna put a bridle on it, or you let it go.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, at some point I'll call it a day on the contracting side of it, but I'll probably keep going with the products. I want to grow those a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then go from there. But it's been fun. I mean, I think the last 10 years have been pretty neat. I'm still excited.
So were there ever times when you sat down with the wife and said, I really don't know if this is going to happen, what I'm looking to do here, or did it just constantly grow through the years?
Well, think there was always positives. There was always nuggets. There was always things that to hang your hat on and say, okay, this is going to get better.
Yeah.
But there were times. I mean, there were times where you sit there and say, is it all worth it?
Right.
There's been a lot of sacrifice. You know what it is when you own your own business.
Yeah.
You don't make it to games. You don't make it to something. You get there late. You feel guilty.
Yeah.
It's just, is it all worth it? But,
I think about. I bet that's been. I'm gonna be honest. That's been weighing heavy. That's been weighing pretty heavily on me the last couple of years. Like I've been, and Mark and Steph know this because we talk a lot privately. I've been mowing around punching a clock for a couple of years now. It's like, man, maybe this is just too much. You know what I mean? Like, it sucks, dude. You know what I mean? And everybody's like, man, you don't want to do that. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. You know what I mean? But I still have those days where, like Mark says, I just sit in the truck like, oh my God, do I have to get out and do this?
Yeah. Opening the tailgate is a complete
but then you start punching a clock and you have to get out whether you want to or not.
Listen, man, I'm not talking about I'm gonna go and punch a clock busting rocks or fucking picking up shingles off the ground, buddy. No. You know what I mean? Like I'm totally gonna be a door greeter at Walmart. You know what I mean? Like,
there you go. Handing out shopping carts.
If I quit doing this, I'm giving up on life. I'm just screwed. I'm gonna be the manager of McDonald's or something. You know what I mean? Like I'm taking her easy, bro. Chilling. Taking her easy, bro. Everyone's lifestyle is gonna change. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna have plenty of chicken nuggets in the refrigerator, though.
I think the biggest advantage, and I only speak as in window cleaning, but being self-employed is the freedom that you make for yourself.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You can't trade that freedom for anything. But like Everett said, there are times in order to pay a price for that freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like everything else, you pay a price for that. You know what I mean? There are times where you have to do shit that you don't want to do when you don't want to do it. You know what I mean? And that's just part of it, I guess. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's why when guys are on the internet, they're like, "How much do I charge for this?" I don't know. What's your time worth, man? Find that you got to find out what your time is worth yourself. I can't tell you what your time's worth. I can't, you know what I mean? I can't do that. If you want to shortchange yourself, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like these guys that like cut each other's necks off constantly. I mean, there's a few guys in my area that I clean windows with that I hear from every couple of years that are like, hey man, where you at? You know what I mean? Because I want to let's try to be around the same thing. You know what I mean? So, I mean, and we're normally pretty, like, within $25, $50 of each other. And that keeps shit on the level. You know what I mean? Like, why do Judy's shit for so cheap? You know what I mean? When Judy's making all this money. You know what I mean? Let's just, let's take Judy's money from Judy. You know what I mean? Like, she don't need all of it. She don't need all that money, man.
No, that's completely true.
I don't know any business owner that works 40 hours or even 50 hours a week. You live it, you breathe it. Even when you think you're clocked out, you're not.
Well, that's always the mental problem. At least for me, speaking is
I know Mark don't go
physically step away.
Mark don't go out to eat without looking at the windows. Like I don't know. If
I do everywhere I go. If I go to another state, I'm either looking at windows or looking for.
Well, I can tell you this right now. I judge a restaurant based on the cleanliness of the windows. I'm like, these people don't give a shit about nothing. The food's going to be terrible. You know what I mean? And 9 times out of 10, I'm right. 9 times out of 10, I'm right. It's going to be shitty here, guys. The windows are dirty. They don't care about anything.
Yeah, completely. Completely.
I don't know. I'll tell you what. I think the older I get and the longer I've been in business, I think the rewards that I get are pretty neat, that they weren't there before. For example, I've had a couple of guys work for me. One guy, he's 10 years now. He first came here. I always teased him. He didn't know what a hammer was, but he was illegal. I said, the only way you can work for me is if you become legal. He's been with me now for 10 years. And you ought to see the house he's built. He's a dual citizenship, so he can go back and forth to Mexico and here. You ought to see the home he's built. He's never had another job except working for me.
Isn't that makes you proud? Yeah.
Yeah, that
you love did. That stuff. Yeah, that's the reward. To me, that's the biggest reward.
You change someone's life.
Yeah, it's hard to not see that as a reward when you can swat. Someone that's been with you that long, the life that they built off of, because the life that you built, and it's good to, why would that not feel great to see another guy, like a guy that works for you is doing just as good? I mean, that's got to be indescribable.
Well, you know what? Exactly, because I've said this in the past. I lost one of my high-rise guys, but he was with me 16 years, and the other one who's still with me was at that time 15 years, and both of them are homeowners. Both of them have children. And they were neither of that when they started working for me. And I realized that one day sitting down, we went to lunch, and I looked at him and I'm like, I'm proud of myself that these guys, because I never figured I could own a home working for someone, washing windows, but that made me feel proud. But then I looked at everybody and I'm like, we're fucking growing old together here. You know what I'm saying? 15, 16 years is a long time.
Yes.
So now flip that around for the customers, and I get that now too. So I'll have somebody... Like I had a customer who had a little wood shop in his place. He had brain cancer, passed away. He wanted to make sure, him and his wife, that I got a chance for the tools and stuff that he had. He wanted to make sure they went to somebody that was a wood person.
Right.
So it was pretty neat. I got to go over there. I fixed things up for them before, and besides just the deck.
Yeah.
He did a lot of work around there too, because he wanted to get things in order for when he passed away. So that was kind of a neat thing, a neat experience there. And I've had people that sell their homes, and I get nice letters or a gift that will say, thank you for taking care of my property for, so many years, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of just neat stuff. And then I'm even getting gifts from contractors. A Brenda Farley, who's followed me. I've helped her out over different jobs. She's a contractor. She does decks and some pressure washing and stuff. She just sent me a nice cutting board. I'm a baseball fan, so she did the baseball cutting board, and then has in it engraved the Wizard of Wood, Everett, Abrams.
Oh, that's cool.
Beautiful.
They're the kind of things that you didn't get that before. That's why I say it's a different kind of
I've recently
thing now.
I've recently, I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, and just recently, over the last couple of years, I've started losing customers, and I don't mean like they stopped, they're passed away, and there's a few of them that, like, man, it's like, ugh. But like you said, they'll like, I do have some customers that they'll sell the house, and then I have a couple houses where I've gone through 3 owners, and I've taken care of the house, so the house itself becomes like part of what I do.
Family.
Like,
part of your
what I
family.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're passing me on. Each customer's passed me on. You know what I mean? But to see those to lose customers, like, that sucks. Like, I lost a lady that lives on. I didn't lose her. Her family lost her. But she lives on Put-in Bay. There's an island. It takes about 30 minutes one way to get there on the ferry. And I go over there. I used to, every time, the standing rule was, every time I went to Mrs. Dale's house, or went to the island, I was to do Mrs. Dale's house. It didn't matter if I was there 1 week, came back in 2 weeks, she'd just go ahead and do it again. That's how cool she was. I do the house inside and out for her twice a year, and usually maybe 3 times on the outside. You know what I mean? So I was over there 5 to 6 times a year doing her house, and just... She was a Spitfire, coolest lady ever. She, she'd fly over there on those little Piper Cub jets, planes. You know what I mean? Like, all by herself. Her husband and the kids would come over later, whatever. She was over there a lot, and just one day, she texted me. I missed the text message. In the afternoon, I replied to her in the evening. She didn't say anything. And then 2 weeks later, I get an email from her daughter saying what happened. She had passed away. She was sick, in bed, in the hospital, dying, and messaging me about, hey, make sure you go over and take care of the house if you're over there this spring. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, sure. Had no idea what was going on. Yeah, no idea what was going on. And I still work for her husband now. So it sucks, man, because she was such a cool lady. You know what I mean? It's like, man, dude, all the cool ones. You know what I mean? So
it's how it always is.
Well, it's like you said. It almost. Tucker. I had a building over 15 years. Went through 3 ownerships, obviously 3 managements, and then, my father always used to say, a new broom sweeps clean, meaning someone's going to bring someone else in, and it doesn't matter. There's no more loyalty at that point, and to this day, I lost it 5 years ago. I still, every time I go by, I'm looking for someone and I cringe, going, you know what? We had a good time, made a lot of money there, but, not always does it. Nothing lasts forever. Yeah. And you just have to be able to move on.
Yeah.
I have a $1.6 million house we took care of. New owner bought it, gave them an estimate. They went with somebody else, calls me back, says, Everett, can you come out? Can we revisit this? I give him the estimate again, and he calls me back and he says, Everett, I think this is just too much. I said, really? I said, based off of what? Based off of the mistake that you made by hiring somebody else, and now that has to be fixed? I said, let me just ask you this question. When you bought the house that you're in right now, didn't you love that house? Didn't it look beautiful? Do you know why you like that house? Because I took care of it.
Yeah, right.
He hung up the phone. He called me by the end of the week, and he said, you know what? Thank you for having that conversation. You're exactly right. I want you to take care of it. And then we went and took care of it, and now we've been staying there every 3 years.
Nice. Yep. Nice. Yeah. So to do decks and everything, you have to be a licensed contractor. Is that like you have to be a GC, or how's that work where you are? Yeah.
Yeah, you have to have a home improvement license.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's a whole new thing.
Whole other animal. Yeah.
Whole other animal.
But so you have to pull permits. You have to pull permits and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But what happened was in 2009 when the economy was squirrely, we did a lot of pressure wash. I just said something about this. We used to work 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. We were doing commercial, doing fleets, buildings, restaurants, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just drunk with money because I didn't know any better. You just went 100 miles an hour and there was money in your pocket and money in the bank and you didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
So then, the economy takes a shit and I'm thinking, okay, well, we should redo some of this stuff. So instead of being looked at more as a pressure washing company, I switched the whole focus onto deck building and decks and deck restoration. We always had the deck restoration plus.
Yeah.
But we moved that and focused it more to that, and just everything fell into place then to me. I think it really took a different tone because it's so easy to sell pressure washing. I don't care if it's pressure washing, it's window cleaning. I don't care if it's, concrete and pavers, whatever it is. It's a lot easier because the high ticket is the deck.
Well, you also have a leg up on a lot of your competition, because I would assume majority of your competition, I would say, the cleaning, does the cleaning, and even if they really know what they're doing. But when you build someone's deck, it's always easy to say. It's just like when I do glass restoration on a building, I'm like, who better to hire to maintain this than the guy that knows how to fix it? Or who's better to maintain this deck than the guy that physically built it? It's a given. Right. I mean, it only makes sense.
Right.
So I talked to you about the 178 decks we got from that HOA.
Uh-huh.
I think one of the keys was that we have our own stain and we're going to stain them for them.
Yeah.
Where the other companies, they don't want to stain. They just want to build a deck and get out of it.
Yeah.
So it makes you more attractive to the customer at the end of the day anyway. So.
Well, not only that, you have your own stain. So if they want to add a section to it or whatever else, it's got to be the same guy that put it down originally. It only makes sense.
So I mean,
I don't know why more people don't do it.
Do you really? I mean, so in that case, I mean, do you really have any competition?
Very, very rarely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you're building the deck, cleaning the deck. You could do. I mean, how do you compete with that? Stain the deck. You don't compete with that. There's no competing with that. Yeah. No wonder you're the Wizard of Wood.
Right.
No shit. I mean, because really, how do you can't compete with that? That's
there
tough.
are people that try to replicate it or whatever.
Sure.
But my competitors like Jamie Schmidt's around me. He tells people, he says, whatever you do, don't mess with Everett's customers. You're not going to get them. Just worry about everything else.
Mm.
And I like that. I like that my competitors think like that.
Right.
Well, that's because you have respect, and that's a rare thing.
Yeah.
In any industry, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, that's rare.
You earn that respect.
Super rare.
Yeah, and you're also very, very cornered in the market. Like, you have home builders come and build a deck. You're like, listen, this is all I do. We take care of it. We stain it. We wash it. We build it. Like that. There's something to be said about that when it's like a master at your craft, because that's what you do.
Right.
It's not like, oh, we also do this. It's like, no, we just do this.
Well, it's also easier for me to define my customers. For when my customers call me, they know that we're going to be more, but we take care of everything. We're not the person that's just going to come in. We're pressure washing the house, so we're just going to clean the deck off for you, and you can hire, a couple college kids to stain it on the weekend.
Right.
So that's a different customer. They're not coming for me anyway. I've so far differentiated myself from competitors that I'm real well defined. So I know when somebody calls me, they're probably pre-qualified before they get to me.
Right. Right. It's just a matter of showing them up and giving them the number, and it's done.
Right.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, because there's really nothing more than looking at a deck that's got lifting stain on it and everything, or just a hack job.
I'm gonna start advertising my stain on Everett's shit so I can get some customers.
There you go.
seems like the right thing to do.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I tell you, it's hard to get a like a niche. You know what I mean? Like something that you're, you know what I mean, good at and you can run with, and be super confident in what you're doing and not have to worry about that stuff. You know what I mean? But I feel bad for people that can't find that. You know what I mean? That sucks.
Well, you know what?
To be lost.
I told you the first time I did it, in the last last time we did this,
mm-hmm.
I splintered the first deck up to hell. If I didn't do that, I would have never gotten to where I'm at.
Yeah.
So and as I did that through the years, I've evolved to where I'm at, and that niche has just grown, and the niche has grown more because of the expertise in the decking. That outdoor living space right now is huge.
Right.
I mean, everybody's concentrating on the outside, their deck, their outdoor kitchens, or whatever they're putting in. So that concentration just lends to what we're doing. So it's working out well.
Well, I mean, when you go through something like we've gone through the last couple of years, personal space becomes a lot more valuable to people.
Yep.
Like, I was totally expecting when all that stuff happened, I was like, man, my residential, I'm done. That's it. I did more residential work in that year of lockdown than I have ever done. Ever. I was cleaning them.
Same here.
I was cleaning constantly. Non-stop. I was cruising. Now, the commercial work, admittedly, it took a shit. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say that it was all peaches and cream, but, boy, the residential more than made up for it. More than made up for it. And I was doing stuff for people that I've never been asked to do before. Like, clean their windows for 8 years, and their patio would look like shit the whole time. You know what I mean? Like, their concrete looked, and they never cared. They didn't give a shit. I'd be like, hey, you want that clean? They're like, nah, I don't want it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You know what I mean? And now they're like, hey, can you do this, and this, and this? And I'm like, hell yeah. Whatever you want, I'll do it,
Yep.
It worked out pretty good.
Well, that's one good thing. If the economy does keep going the way it's going, I think people spend all this money in that outdoor living space. They're going to pay to keep it clean, keep it maintained. They'll find a way. They may do it themselves, but they may hire somebody. But I still think they're going to get the work done. They're just not going to let it go to hell.
I'm kind of the mindset that the people that pay me to do what I do for them are always going to have the money to pay me to do what I do for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I got one of my customers, he owns a lot of, and I've said this 1,000 times on here. He goes, I don't hire you because I can't clean a window. He goes, I hire you because I don't want to clean the windows. You know what I mean? Like, he goes, and I pay you to come in. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about it. You wipe around the windows, wipe my tracks down. He goes, you clean my windows, wipe my screens down. He goes, put everything. I don't have to worry about it. He goes, that's why I hire you, because I don't want to, you know what I mean? And that's what you need to, it's
that's
hard
your target customer.
That's your target customer. Yeah. It's super hard to sell somebody window cleaning like you. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to sell me. I would be like, dude, get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Fuck out of here. Hey, man, hey, you want an estimate to clean your windows? No. You know what I mean? Get out of here.
My best customer is the person that stained their deck once.
You're right. Right. Yeah, you're right. The first time I get a lot of customers like that, that you said that, you're like, I tried to clean the windows and they just look like shit, so I called you. I mean, I do a lot of them. Like, I hear that a lot all the time. I tried to do it and it didn't work out good. I'm like, yep. Or the guy that tries to clean his driveway with the electric pressure washer and it looks like somebody's circles everywhere.
It's my favorite. Mark, you might have these and TJ around you. Do you guys have Toll Brothers that build around you?
Yes, we do.
Heard of that? All right. So you know how shit their windows are, right?
Yeah.
The top sash doesn't move, but the bottom flips in. So there's a new road that I do. It's probably about 3 years old now, and there's 26 houses on the road. I now do 20 of them. And the first guy who said, your estimate's out of control, I'm just going to do them myself, watched me as I went down the street and did all his neighbors. And it took he was like, I'm never going to pay someone to clean my windows. Finally, this year, he saw me doing a house. He said, just come over. He's like, you do everybody on the street. You might as well just do my house. I'm like, yeah. Right. Like, it's only took you 3 years, but we're here.
Yeah.
All that matters.
Stuff. Yeah.
I had an experience this summer like that, Seth, where I do everyone on this street except for maybe 6 houses. You know what I mean? So I do this whole street of this gated community. It forks off, a couple different ways, but this one whole road I do every house on both sides of the street, except for 5 or 6. And this lady calls me and she's like, "Oh, you do all my neighbors. You might as well do mine too." And I'm like, "Okay." So I do her window. She wasn't there. I broke my first rule. That she wasn't there to pay me. Her husband was there, and he's like, "Oh, I don't have my checkbook on me, so I can't write you a check." I was like, "I'll take credit cards." "Well, I've only got my debit card, and I don't want to do that over your phone." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Well, I'll leave you the bill." I was like, "If you just sign the bill for me, sign the bill." I, left him his copy. I took my copy, got in the truck, didn't hear from him for 3 months. So I go and do the neighbor's house across the street, and we're sitting there talking. I was like, "Hey, do you see those people over there very often?" And she's like, "No." She goes, "But I know them." I was like, "Well, they owe me fucking $300. I didn't say fucking. I was like, "They owe me $300. They've never paid me." And she's like, "What?" She goes, "I gave them your phone number, Terry." I was like, "Yeah, they've never paid me." She's like, "Well, I will get that straightened out for you." And now everybody on the street knows that these people sniffed me.
Yeah.
She
People
paid
don't
though.
like that, yeah.
She paid though. I tried to collect from that woman for 3 months.
Yeah. Well,
I did nothing
when
but
you
jump.
go back, I would say, look.
This lady has artificial turf. She's got artificial turf for a yard. So she don't have to mow. They got a putting green. They put in a new pool. So I went in to clean the windows inside and out after all this construction happened. And you gonna stiff me? No. So I told them. The neighbors across the street, they got me paid. The neighbors got me paid. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
This woman actually offered. She's like, "What do they owe you? I'll pay you." I was like, "No, I can't let you do that." She's like, "No, I will. I'll get my money." I was like, No. I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I refused.
Yeah.
She was adamant though. She goes, "I'll pay you because that is terrible." I was like, "Don't even worry about it." But the lady paid me, man. You know what I mean? That's all that matters. She ended up paying. Sucks, man. Everett, thank you for coming on, man.
Appreciate you guys having me. I love that.
Yeah.
I wish.
I enjoy. You know what, Everett? I'll say this: you're really. You seem to be a really genuine, good dude.
Yes.
And because I know nothing about what you do, other than what you tell me, I'm fascinated by your business and what you do. So my props to you, buddy. Keep up the good, the good work.
Yeah. Before we get out of here, you still do classes and stuff like that, correct?
Oh yeah.
You still do how do people, when people will watch this later on, that we get most of our views after the fact, people tune in. So where can people go to find the Wizard of Wood and learn more from you? Where do they go?
wizardofwood.net has the calendar on there with all the classes and what we do. It has the online platforms and so forth. So
awesome.
They can attend an in-person one, or they can get it online. We've done it online. There's about 20 to 24 hours of information on the online stuff.
Awesome. Well, Everett, again, thank you so much for coming on. I'm sorry we had so many technical difficulties, but that's
what makes it fun.
Yeah, that's part of life.
Yeah,
you know what
exactly.
I mean?
Well, you're a real good sport about it, and you're welcome back anytime. We'd love to have you.
Thanks, Everett. See you next week, guys. Peace.
Peace.
All right. See you.